In recent documentaries produced by National Geographic and different publications by such authors as Georgeos Diaz Montexano or Stavros Papamarinopoulos, a new theory on Atlantis was presented, claiming the location of Atlantis was in Spain. Will new evidence, great expeditions and scientists' efforts shed new light on the case of Atlantis? Will the theory of Terra Santorini that I presented in Atlantis, Rise of the Legends movie collapse? Was Atlantis really in Spain? There is one big problem with the Santorini theory, that is the location of the island. Atlantis was situated beyond the Pillars of Hercules. In later antiquity, it was another name for the Strait of Gibraltar. Moreover, one of the kings of Atlantis ruled a land called Gadeiriki in Andalusia, southern Spain. So really there is no other place in the world that would better fit the location that Plato described than Spain. Let's travel to check out if evidence presented in National Geographic documentaries was correct. Some researchers suggest that concentric circles found in Iberia represent the city of Atlantis. Let's look at the example of warrior stelae. These come from late Bronze Age and early Iron Age and represent men, probably warriors or important people, surrounded by fighting equipment, spears, chariots and shields, sometimes in the form of concentric circles. According to Georgeos Diaz Montexano, the circles represent the capital of Atlantis. On one hand, we cannot deny this hypothesis, because the function of the stelae is still under debate. But on the other hand, there is no point in looking for hidden agenda in these shields. After analyzing the case of warrior stelae, I traveled many kilometers north of Sevilla to Extremadury. In the valley of Guadalefra river, next to little church of Virgin Mary of Piedra Escrita, we find many rocks with ancient carving. Among them, according to some researchers, there is a map of Atlantis.
Oh, that's it. That's it, we have it.
Okay, so let's look what we have here. There are a lot of incisions everywhere. First of all, there is a very beautiful horse here. You can see its head, its legs. And there is another animal here, probably a bull because it has a horn. And what they said in the documentary is that this was water and that this horse was drowning downwards. And the best thing is that these lines aren't water, but part of the bull. What we have more, we can see concentric rings here. So here's one ring, second ring and the third ring. For them this is a symbol of Atlantis. And here we have much more, because there is an animal here, probably a bull too, with a horn. And we have two boats here. This is a one boat, it's quite long. Here is the front of the boat. And another smaller one is here. And we can see that it's sailing. And what they say is that this here is part of Iberia, of Spain, that this is Africa, so Libya, and this would be somewhere here, a Strait of Gibraltar, I suppose, and that this is Atlantis with its concentric rings. And yes, this is very beautiful and interesting. Anyway, it doesn't seem that the carvings represent the map of Atlantis. Let's now continue our trip in the great dolmen of Menga.
So the dolmen of Menga was always treated as a simple monumental burial. But let's see something. You can see a huge well here. Its depth is about 20 meters. And what scientists say now is that this tomb was also a sanctuary dedicated to the earth and water, and that it was built after a huge earthquake as a remembrance of this event.
Even in Neolithic times, people built a tomb and a sanctuary in one after a big earthquake. It is theoretically possible that descendants of Atlanteans also could have built a temple as a remembrance of their destroyed city. According to Professor Richard Freund, ancient Tartessian palace of Cancerano is such a place.
So here in the entrance to the palace we can see a beautiful warrior stela. Actually the glass is quite dirty, so we have to clean this up a bit. And we can see beautiful concentric rings and the warrior on the side with spear and mirror. And actually these rings, this is a shield of the warrior. It's quite interesting because what we can see, there's a big ditch that has defensive functions that surrounds the complex, but interestingly, probably, water was also here. It filled the canal, and we can see the smaller canals here, and that's what makes some people think that this complex was a commemoration of destroyed Atlantis. So we are now in the Chalcolithic settlement of Los Millares. This is the main gate, the entrance to the city. And Chalcolithic is the period when Belpical culture flourished. And according to some people, the Belpical culture was strictly connected to the Atlantean culture. So let's see if we can find any clues that connect this period to Atlantis. You can see these huge massive walls with the towers for the warriors, and there are 3 walls that surround the city, but in the later stage they built huge forts. Okay, so I've just climbed a hill and I'm here because not everyone knows that just next to the main settlement of Los Millares there's a beautiful fortress. This one. And this is one of the places that National Geographic didn't visit in any of their documentaries. And why it's interesting? It's interesting because maybe you cannot see it well from here, but the fortress is made of concentric rings. So I suppose that they would say that it's connected somehow to Atlantis. And what I want to show you, what I want to tell you, is that the circles are everywhere. They are around the world. To make circular walls is the best way to make a fortified city or fortresses like this. So not everything that's circular is connected to Atlantis.
While we can doubt about shown evidence, there is only one thing that could confirm or not that the city that gave birth to the legend of Atlantis was in Spain. In Doñana National Park, near the Strait of Gibraltar, scientists found evidence of ancient settlements destroyed by powerful tsunamis in Bronze Age. But to say something more, we would have to find rest of walls and temples that up to date haven't been found.
So we are now in the Doñana National Park, and here, according to different researchers, the city of Atlantis was situated. And indeed, we have evidence of prehistoric and ancient settlements in the area. We have even evidence of gigantic tsunamis, but we don't have nothing concrete, and we need very concrete evidence of very concrete city and its artifact to say that yes, Atlantis was here.
German physicist Rainer Kühne claimed to have found circles and temples of Atlantis on satellite images, but it came out that the temple was in fact a Muslim building. In Atlantis Rising documentary, National Geographic's team found stone anchors and mill wheels, but these were more likely from later times, from Iron Age. Although we cannot confirm all evidence given by other researchers, and up to date there are no rests of a big city found in the area of Doñana, there is a big possibility that Plato's Atlantis is an echo of a Spanish city, located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, near Gadeiriki land, destroyed by a tsunami. But to be sure, we have to wait for archaeologists, geologists and divers. Who knows, maybe one day there will be enough proof to say Atlantis legend had a beginning in Spain.